Hey everyone, Bo Batten coming to you with Scorpion Uncut. This is the Country High Water Rescue Edition with our favorite character in our Scorpion family, Country Harrison, with us today from Mebane, North Carolina. For those of you that don't know or haven't stumbled into the Scorpion pages before, Country is a crazy dude. He is a high water rescue guy. He takes his truck into hurricanes. He rescues people. He doesn't do what the government entities do and wait for red tape to be cut. He just goes. He's a character. We're here for part 2 today. We're going to catch up with Country and hear some of the things that he has to say, talk about some of his experiences within these hurricanes, and talk about this, pardon the French, badass truck that he's got named Goliath. Country, how are you, my man?
Man, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I appreciate your love.
Hey, good. It's well deserved. Always great to spend some time with you. Always great to catch up. We were messaging last night, and he since I've seen the truck, there's been lots of changes. He sent me some pictures last night, and the accompanying joke. Country, you want to share that joke with us? Do you remember what you had said?
Yeah, the truck's final product as it's coming together looks so intimidating. I think Storms will actually divert to Mexico so they don't have to approach Goliath.
I love it. I'll put a picture up here as this video progresses through. You can see what the truck looks like. It is it's a monster. It is a monster. There was a joke that we had when Mike and I from M&S Diecast was over down in Mebane. No, we weren't in Mebane. Where were we? Where did we spray the truck
Reedsville.
at? Reedsville. When we were down in Reedsville doing the spraying of the truck, we had joked about this monstrous truck being named Goliath. What if a hurricane named David approached the U.S. Gulf Coast? How are we going to handle that?
I'll just not know that it's coming. I'll forget about it.
Yeah. You're going to pretend it's named Dan and not David?
There you go. There you go.
All right.
Or I'll have to call them and tell them they got to rename it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm sure we could come up with some good names if so. And maybe it's just the Beast.
It'll get a new name for a hurricane. That we can do that, but I ain't gonna call it Goliath. A Hurricane David.
So, Country, I want to talk about the truck, and I want to talk about storm experiences. So just tell us about the truck itself, how you started, where it's at now, and the progress in between.
Well, it started years ago when I went to a hurricane and I came back with this belief that that's what I was meant to do. My volunteer time that I've always been looking for something to be involved in. I was meant to save people. And I come home and I told my wife, I want to build a truck specifically to do this because taking your $50,000 Yukon into hurricanes is probably not my best plan of action. And she was like, you are very correct with that. But at the time, I had an 86 show truck, Chevy C10 Silverado. Just gorgeous, gorgeous truck. I'd already won best of shows with the 9 shows that I had been to. And my wife looked at me and said, the promise was this: one truck, that's it. Because I know you're not going to do anything half willy-nilly, one truck. So I had to sit for about 2 weeks and think about whether I was going to get rid of a truck that I call Sarsaparilla and trade that for this idea of going into hurricanes. And after 2 weeks, it really killed me because I had finally gotten Sarsaparilla where I wanted it, but it had to go. So we began looking for a truck, and we ended up finding a truck all the way in Northern Virginia in a field because the guy found out what we were going to do with the truck. And a truck that he wanted $12,000 for, he ended accepting 3 as long as we would promise him to put the truck to great use. So we went up with a flatbed and found out that the flatbed I had wasn't wide enough. And the guy looks at me and goes, "Well, how about this? I've got to go to North Carolina in a week. I'll just bring you the truck for free." And he brought the truck, and we took a very plain, very ordinary 2001 F-250 four-door crew cab, four-wheel drive, and turned it into an absolute monster. And we've been taking it to hurricanes ever since, and we've logged 1,058 rescues and 600 pets. And in that time period, I have met some of the most amazing people, and we have been able to help some of the most amazing people. I mean, people that you'll always remember the smile or the fact that they're resilient beyond anything you could imagine, knowing that literally their whole life has collapsed around them. And uh, I mean, it just gives you the ability to help people that may not have otherwise made it, or it gives you the ability to put your arms around them and say, "Hey, look, God loves you."
There's a lot of power in a hug. It really
It
is.
sure
I believe
is.
that.
Some of my best moments have been hugs and very, very bad situations,
Yeah.
and it 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 really does bring you down to where you remember what's important in the world. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm real passionate about everything I'm involved in, but when somebody slows me down enough to say, "Hey, I need a hug," or I offer one and they're like, "You know what? That's exactly what I needed right now."
Yeah.
And case in point, we had a lady that she had lost, I think it was she had lost her daughter-in-law, her grandbaby, and her son to the hurricane the night before. And when I offered the hug, she would not let me go. I mean, this was like a 4-minute hug, and she just sat there sobbing in my chest. And when it was done, and I told her, I said, "Look, God loves you. Don't forget that." And she informed me, she goes, "That message is exactly what I needed right now."
Um,
And it just, it kind of breaks you, because when I got back in the truck, I had to pause for a good 5 minutes before I could get back into what I was doing, because it shook me a little bit.
you're seeing some of these people. You're coming in contact with them at probably, well, there's no probably to it. The worst moment of their life.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's powerful, and that does have an effect on you.
a
So
lot of, I mean, one of our rescuers last year at Hurricane Ida, we rescued a family that a tree fell inside their house during the storm, and they were freaking out because fire departments told them they couldn't get them. The EMT down the road was like 3 miles, said, "Look, we're not going out for at least 3 hours." And they somehow got onto our Facebook page, hit me the address. We were only 6 miles away, but it took me an hour and 10 minutes to get there because of the fallen trees and the 100-mile-an-hour winds and all that great fun stuff that we were dealing with. And we got there, and this little girl gets up into Rod's arms. And when Rod went to put her in the truck, she would not let him go. And when I talk to Rod and he talks about the different experiences we've had, that little girl just attaching to him like a kangaroo does its mama. I mean, it was just like, he says he'll never ever forget that moment as being, of all the things we've done, that's the moment for him. And the moment for me is when we went back to uh shoot, what's that? It was back to shoot, Lake Charles, and I rescued this guy, and he looks at me and he goes, "Country," and I'm like, "What are you doing here?" And he looks at me and goes, "I knew you'd be here to rescue me." It was the third time I had rescued him. 3 hurricanes, 4 years, same guy. And I just thought about it a minute and I'm like, it's scary in the fact that I have to rescue the same guy 3 times, but it's the fact that he knew me right away and knew that I was gonna be there, and if all hell broke loose, he could hit me up on the Facebook page and say, "Hey, come get me."
Yeah.
And when he said, "Hey, come get me," I, of course, didn't recognize his name, but he gave us his address, and I was like, I recognize that street, and sure enough, as soon as I get out of the truck, I know exactly who it is, and I'm like, "Geez, God Almighty!" But I thought about it, and it was awful humbling to know that when it came to the guy's most dire point in need of safety and help, he reached out to me.
If I'm treading on ground that you don't want to tread on, tell me. But
Yeah.
from a Midwestern point of view, when hurricanes are coming in, I'm always interested in watching the Weather Channel and seeing how the people react, and honestly, the Weather Channel girls are great, but some of them are really adamant. Leave if you have the resources. Leave, go north, get out of the way. Do you ever have thoughts on that? Is that something that comes up?
Uh, last year, Hurricane Ida was coming in as a 5, and we were n- when we're geared for going to do what we do, we're always like, I can't believe people are not leaving. It doesn't make sense to me. We've been through 3 Hurricane 5s since we started doing this, and we're just sometimes we get kind of cynical and kind of pissed off that we even have to be there to rescue people. And but we know that there are going to be people in need. And last year, the smiles on our faces, I mean, we started high-fiving in the middle of the truck 2 days before Hurricane Ida, because as we're going down 10 in Louisiana, we normally saw trickles coming out. I mean, like a vehicle, a vehicle, and this was a vehicle, a vehicle, 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 and we're doing high fives like they're listening. We
Yeah,
can't believe it. It's awesome. And the Kingsley in the back gave the greatest statement. He goes, I think the light has come on. And it's just like, that we want to be able to be there to be that guy. We do. But it would be so much more awesome if we went to a hurricane and literally nobody needed rescuing.
yeah,
Nobody needed our assistance. Nobody needed saving because everybody left except for law enforcement. I mean, the whole town's gone. But we also know that's not realistic.
you're right.
Primarily for your lower income families, and primarily for the more uneducated individuals are, the more haphazard they are to believe folks, like, because their families have done this year in and year out. They've they've been through 26 hurricanes and it's never come up this far, so they don't believe what's on TV. And then you've got your elderly that just they don't see a way of separating themselves from the house, and you don't want to judge on them, but you know that that house is the last thing they have in this world, and walking away from it might be too hard because of the fact that that might be the last thing they ever own, before they get shifted into a low income rest home, because they've lost everything.
Yeah,
I mean, we have Mr. Henry calls me probably once a month since last year, and we rescued their entire rest home. And we did it in about 6, 7 hours, going back and forth, getting them to shelters. And I mean, these people were literally crying and telling us that this was their survival, and that's everything. Even though they didn't own it, they took possession in their heart of
yeah,
that place. And with the damage that place sustained, they were talking 9 to 10 months before it would be open again. And within 6 months, we had found out that um, 5 or 6 of them had passed away, and so they never got to go back to what they called home.
Well, well, it is. It's interesting to think about how it affects and the long term. And again, us up here in Indiana, in the Midwest, can't reference. The only comparison we would have is a tornado, and they're very rare up here. Just to have your belongings, your home, everything, it's gone. It's gone, and I can't imagine the devastation that you all have seen and experienced, and the people that have been a part of your life, and you're a part of them forever. Uh,
Yeah, I get calls every year randomly. Uh, this year's been more than most. I've probably had 20 calls this year, and people saying, "Hey, country, I just want to let you know hurricane season's coming up. We're praying for you. We hope not to see you. It means you're not in the area." But it's really impactful the more I do this. I mean, last month, I think I had 7 calls with hurricane season gearing up, with people going, "Hey, we know you're gonna be in harm's way, and we're praying for you, and we know that you're gonna be there, and you're gonna be doing it." And it's a humbling thing, but in the same token, it's something that I take great pride in.
I'm well aware. I'm well aware. Having known you for what, 10 months now,
Yep.
I it's there. It's there. The passion's there. You've heard me say use that word passion and you in the same sentence many times.
Yes, sir.
Um, Country, as you brought up, as hurricane season approaches, how does your life shift? I mean, you have a job, you have a wife, you have family, you have community responsibilities. I'm curious how, what the calendar turns to August, what changes for you? How does that affect you and your family?
This is the time period my wife knows that I've got my go bag, because we're all volunteer. I mean, my entire team, I'm reaching out to all of them. "Hey, are you gonna be available? How's life treating you right now?" These guys, when we go, I may be gone for a week, or I may be gone for 23 days, as in 2 years ago to Hurricane Laura. You never know. And when we do what we do, I have to make sure that I've geared my business at this point where I don't have a lot of installs going in, so I don't have to be there. My customers know, hey, this is his passion. He does it every year. I've got customers that literally have reached out to me to say, "Go bang it out this year, go do your thing." And my customers are very understanding that they may have to call home office during September to November, and or August to November, and they're willing to understand that. And I really am fortunate in that aspect, because um, when I go to hurricanes with my team, these guys are willing to sleep on the ground, sleep in a tent, sleep in a hot truck. I mean, they're willing to do things for me and for the people that are out there that need our assistance. That it's just kind of hard to ask a guy, "Hey, I need the next 12 days. I need you to not get paid. I need you to work harder than you've worked all year long. And we're giving you such awesome accommodations that, oh, by the way, you're going to be eaten by mosquitoes alive, and you're going to risk your life doing it." And at the end of the day, it's just the hugs and the thank yous. Is That's what you're getting paid. That's it. There's nothing coming for you other than that. And it really is awesome that I mean, I've got guys that save up their vacation so that they can go help other people.
Yeah.
And the US Veterans Corps is just fortunate in that way, because all of our guys are vets. All of our guys are guys who are used to giving to their country. And these are guys that know they're not getting compensated, but they're doing something that you cannot trade that for anything.
Mm. Okay, last question I have for you about hurricanes before we talk about a little bit more about Goliath. So you're sitting in Mebane, North Carolina, doing your
Yep.
job. You're on the road. You come home at night. You flip over the Weather Channel. Um, hey, there's a depression out off the coast of Africa.
I start watching from Africa on.
Okay. So as it approaches and projections start coming in, how do you base your team and your reaction? How do you decide that?
We start making phone calls to see who, if the National Oceanic Association says that it's going to hit on August 22nd, somewhere between Virginia and Texas, we start saying who's available, number one. We start figuring out who's going to be first man in, who's going to be follow up guys, who's, hey, dude, I can only give you a weekend to bring you supplies after the fact. And then we figure out what is our core group of guys that's saying, woohoo, we're going in for the real deal. Those guys, we start getting really ready and we start paying attention to what line that they draw. And then as it gets closer, we figure out where we need to be, to the point where the day before it hits, we generally try to be about 30 miles outside the eye. So when all hell breaks loose, I mean, I've had to chain my truck to a pillar to keep myself from going somewhere when the high winds start. And we always try and make sure we're on the backside of a building or the backside of tractor trailers, so that when the wind coming our direction is hitting it, it's hitting us, so that we got some semblance of protection.
Okay. Wow. What have I got myself into?
It's gonna be fun, brother.
Well, I'm talking with the wife last night, and then of course the boss here at Scorpion, Clayton. I told him, hey, we had another video with you today. He goes, boy, you ready? It's about that time, huh? So I guess he hasn't changed his mind about sending me down and allowing me to venture in and maybe document some of this. So I don't know. I still think I'm going to have a leg injury, though, and be incapacitated till I don't know late October.
Well,
Um,
we tell guys, number one, understand any one of these storms can get you killed.
yeah.
And number two, don't show up unless you are 100%, because I mean, I've had guys that when they got there, they were telling me, dude, I'm scared to death. This is just like, this is nuts. And I've had to send them home, because if guys that show up like that, we tell them, I love your passion, but you got to go, because we cannot afford that.
Country, we have a few minutes left in our video today. During this time, I want you to tell me a little bit about the truck. Tell me about Goliath and some of the things that have been done to it here over the last 6-7 months.
Well, we got hit by the state of North Carolina. They told me that my vehicle was overweight. Well, when they did, we figured out we're going to have to do a total rebuild, because I'm going to have to figure out how to make it lose the weight that we added. And then the state told me, after we did we're 3/4 of the way done with the rebuild, hey, we're going to go ahead and grant you the weight, which and it was like, wait a minute, we didn't have to do this whole process. It was like, let me hit my head on a wall. But the truck is the safest it will have ever been now, thanks to amazing companies like Scorpion. And
Small
I mean,
price to pay.
Scorpion Coatings, you guys were the first new company to step up, besides our two oldest sponsors, and say, we want in this project. We want to help you help other people. And our motto is what a few can do.
Love
And
it.
what those few companies can do has set us up so that Goliath is sitting on a much higher quality suspension, a much better ride, much bigger tires, I mean, everything through the engine or through the drivetrain is upgraded, through the rear of the truck is upgraded, through the lights that are upgraded. And the companies that have stepped up, you have no clue how much admiration I have for them. and you guys coming down and helping us put a paint job on this truck, because our other rubberized coating that we had on there wasn't nearly to the quality of Scorpion, and we were having to where there was a slit and I could take my hand inside and go woo in between the truck and the coating, and we knew that had to come off. And when you guys stepped up and said, well, don't worry about that, let's get the garbage off and put some serious stuff on, you came through in a big fashion,
Good.
and it represents the truck extremely, extremely well.
Hey, I think from everybody that's seen the pictures, it does look pretty good. But it's not just the coating; it's and you know what? In today's world, you hear a lot of negative things. It's good to hear these positive things that the companies are willing to do it. And you know what? For what we spent, what we did, what the time we gave, well worth it. Well worth it. Money well spent, time well spent, and lifetime of memories and friendship from it. So,
Well,
all
these
good.
10, there are 10 companies involved in the rebuild, and every one of them has my absolute respect. And it just, I can't begin to tell you guys how much I appreciate all you've done.
Very welcome. Very deserving as well. Country, people want to get a hold of you. People want to see you. People want to follow you. Where should they go?
Instagram and YouTube, USVC Rescue Crew, and US Veterans Corps Instagram and Facebook and YouTube.
Okay.
And we're going to be providing Scorpion and our other sponsors live footage of what we go through this year, because we actually put a 360-degree recorded viewpoint so that you'll have all 4 camera views. So when hell breaks loose, you'll be able to be like, we had a part in that. And the thing about it is, that helps the truck tremendously, because when there's a coating on the door rather than a paint job, when something hits that door, and it always does, and it sounds like a gun went off when a piece of debris slams into the truck, it bounces right off. And that's the thing about a quality coating being on there. It will help Goliath last so much longer than if we just said, oh, let's just throw some paint on there, see how it works out for us.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you give us great props. I never question that. I love that you're passionate about what we've done for you. But I think I'm most proud that if there was something I did, something Scorpion did, that made or helped or encouraged other companies to step up, that's what I'm proud of. Because in the end, we're making you safe, and we're giving you the ability to maybe rescue a couple extra people that you wouldn't have done without it. So,
But you've done an awesome job, because truthfully, people saw the progress of the truck, and 5 of the companies, 5 of them had turned us down. And then when they saw the progress of the truck coming along, stepped back in and went, hey, wait a minute. If they're involved, we want to get involved. If they're stepping up, we want to step up.
excellent.
And
Love to hear that.
that really meant a lot to us.
Good
So I honestly think that Goliath is as safe as it is now to go into the storm, and it has a lot to do with you guys, and I really
You're gonna-
appreciate that.
You're going to be the envy of all the other volunteer rescue workers. Love it. Country, as always, my man, you are the best. You're an absolute crazy dude. Respect, love what you do. Love the passion, love the pride. Good talking with you, good catching up. And
Well,
we're going to do this one more time.
absolutely. And any of those folks who want to contribute to our increased fuel costs that we're having, if you can go to myusvc.com, that stands for My United States Veterans Corporation.com, or Veteran Corps, Corps.com. Go into that, hit donate today, but make sure under invoice you put Goliath or hurricanes, and just let folks know, hey, would love to step up and help, because trust me, diesel costs when you're driving 800 miles to get to a hurricane or 1,000 miles to get to a hurricane, brother, they can hurt.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. All right, country. Great talking to you, my man. You're the best.
Peace.
We'll catch up real soon.
Peace, brother.
You got it.